Hi, I'm going to continue reading Runaway Ralph. Let's see what happens to Ralph now. Aha! Ralph curled himself into a cozy ball. The leaves beneath him were springy. The husk above him was smooth and silky and curled protectingly around him. Ralph had not been so comfortable for a long time. A delicious fragrance of hot cakes drifted from the dining hall, reminding Ralph of the dining hall room of the Mountain View Inn, and the campers began to sing. The horses stand around, their feet are on the ground. Oh, who will wind the clock while I'm away, away? And Ralph had wondered if Matt had wound the clock in the lobby. Perhaps Matt was searching for a broken motorcycle in the shrubbery at the foot of the steps of the Mountain View Inn. Well, he wouldn't find it. Now, all Ralph wanted was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And Ralph slept more soundly than he had ever slept before. The next thing Ralph knew, a weight was pressing him into the bamboo leaves. He squirmed, but the weight pressed harder. He heard a cat's voice say, "Now watch carefully. This is the way to handle a mouse." That greeting opened Ralph's eyes in a hurry. He saw to his horror that he was pinned to the leaves by the paw of a cold-hearted tomcat and was surrounded by a mother cat and a litter of wide-eyed kittens. Ralph simply closed his eyes again and tried to pretend he was not there. He could not believe what was happening. Cats were something that happened to other mice, not to Ralph. Now he wished he had listened when his mother had tried to warn him, as so often she did, about cats, owls, people, traps, poison grain, and vacuum cleaners. "Children, pay attention," said the mother cat to their kittens. "A live mouse is an interesting and instructive plaything." Ralph felt quite miserable enough without having to be educational as well. "Now watch this," said the tomcat, and the weight was removed from Ralph's body. A paw scooped him up and tossed him into the air. Nothing like this had ever happened to Ralph before. He landed on his feet and stood frozen with terror, facing the cat. He waited with every muscle tense for the cat to pounce, but nothing happened. The cat, who wore an interested expression on his horrible furry face, simply sat and watched. Ralph was aware of the campers leaving the dining hall and scattering to different parts of the camp, but he dared not look at them. If he watched his chance, he might be able to make a run for it. The cat, apparently distracted by a butterfly, glanced away, and Ralph leaped for freedom, only to be brought to earth by a paw. "That's the way to do it," said the tomcat. "Mice are stupid creatures who are easily fooled." And Ralph lay limp and still, and the cat's evil claws curled around his body. If Ralph moved even a hair's breadth, he would have been stabbed in 5 places. "Maybe if I play dead, they will go away," he thought. Children walked in and out of the screen door nearby, but no one came to the rescue of the small brown mouse behind the bamboo. "He's trying to play dead," explained the tomcat, "but I can feel his heart beating beneath my paw." And unfortunately, there was nothing Ralph could do about his heartbeat. If he ever got away from this cat, he would be a better mouse. Here's a picture of the cat throwing up Ralph. He would listen when his mother warned him about cats, owls, people, traps, poison grain, and vacuum cleaners. He would set a good example for his little brothers and sisters and cousins. "Children, forget that butterfly and watch closely," instructed the mother cat. "This is the scoop and toss play, explained the tomcat, and the next thing Ralph knew, he had been scooped up by the cat's paw and tossed back into the air. He managed to land on all fours in the bamboo leaves, but he was too terrified of that clawed paw to move. The attention of the kittens, he was pleased to see, had wandered. One had rolled over and tried to catch its tail. Another scampered off after a leaf, and a third trotted after a girl who picked him up and carried him away. The tomcat appeared to lose interest in Ralph and sat calmly, his tail curved around his feet, looking up at the leaves fluttering on the bamboo stalks. He thinks he's got me fooled, thought Ralph. If he moved, the cat was sure to pounce. If he did not move, the cat would pounce anyway. There was no way Ralph could win. He was doomed to be a mid-morning snack for a cat. Luckily, Ralph did not have to make a decision. There was a sudden whacking noise on the falling leaves, and a cloud of something light and soft settled over him. Then he found himself being tumbled about as he was lifted from the ground. It's a net. Good for you, Garv, said a woman's voice. What kind of butterfly did you catch? Oh, it isn't a butterfly, answered the boy. It's a mouse. I rescued him from Catso. And by now, Ralph had managed to get his feet down and his head up and could see that he was suspended in the air in some sort of net. Through the mesh, he could see a plump, cheerful woman who was wearing slacks and a blouse. He could also see the boy, the same boy who had clumped through the Mountain View Inn in his new cowboy boots, who was now holding him so ignominiously in the butterfly net. Better a net than a paw, thought Ralph, socially, because he felt that where there was a boy, there was hope. Boys like mice. A mouse? Exclaimed the woman. You caught a mouse in a butterfly net? Yes, answered the boy, and I'm going to keep him. Where? Wondered Ralph. In his pocket? He had hoped so. A boy's pocket was apt to be warm and dark and full of crumbs. The cat, cheated of his prey, stalked off with his tail in the air, trying to pretend in a most dignified manner that he did not want that mouse anyway. How good, said the woman enthusiastically, surprising Ralph. All the women he had known, the housekeeper, the maids, the guests of the hotel, referred to mice as nasty creatures or pesky rodents, and from Ralph's point of view, spent their time trying to outwit perfectly harmless little animals. Oh, well, we can find a place for him in our nature corner, suggested the woman, who Ralph decided must be the Aunt Jill Sam had mentioned. Come on into the craft shop. I'm sure we have an old cage somewhere. Ralph was disappointed. He had looked forward to a dark and crumbly pocket, and at the same time, he was anxious. If he was to be trapped in a cage, how could he get back to his motorcycle? The screen door creaked as it was opened, and Ralph found himself looking through the net at a room with long work tables and walls lined with shelves full of boxes, jars, and odds and ends. Seated on a bench were 3 girls who were busy braiding with long, thin strips of colored plastic. They appeared to ignore the boy until the woman rummaged around on the shelves and produced a small wire cage with an exercise wheel inside and a bottle of water fastened at one end. And suddenly the girls were interested. "Well, what's the cage for, Aunt Jill?" asked one of them, as all three of them jumped up from the bench. All right, friends, that's where we're going to end today. We are in the middle of Chapter 3, An Educational Toy, and we will read some more later. Have a good day.